This is Sick and Wrong, America's #1 source for antisocial commentary. Brought to you by the Reach Around Foundation.
Good evening. Welcome to Sick and Wrong, the world source for antisocial commentary. I'm one of your hosts, D. Simon.
And I'm Lance Wackerly, the other host.
Well, welcome to podcast 26 of Sick and Wrong.
What happened?
God, this sounds so rehearsed. Well, people, as we promised you, we kind of dropped the ball on this. We promised podcast 25 because this should be podcast 25, and we had something planned. We had a special podcast planned for everyone where we were going to share our own personal Sick and Wrong stories, and we had a special guest that was supposed to come in the studio and share his Sick and Wrong story.
Right, well, it's still planned.
It is still planned, but it's going to be postponed until next week. So this week, we're going to be doing podcast 26, and next week will be podcast 25.
You know, and I'm so tempted to be pissed at your brother, but you're right. We dropped the ball because we forgot that it's Gay Pride Week.
Exactly.
And your brother's on call in case there's any gay pride emergencies. He has to make it down there.
Well, dude, this is my brother's holiday. My brother lives for this shit.
Why does that have to last a week, man?
Dude, sodomy in public. This is like my brother's life. I mean, my brother is a proud gay man.
He's going to bring some Old Testament wrath down on this city.
And I don't know about people who live outside the country or in other areas of this country, but this week in San Francisco is Gay Pride Week, so it's Gay Pride weekend, and they have a Gay Pride parade, and
it's
thousands of people.
Gay Pride Week in the gayest city in the United States.
Yeah, and basically, like, you know, gay people take a whole holiday for this fucking week. So on the weekend, there's like a big Pride parade. And for my brother, he's been doing drugs, poppers, and having sodomy, rampant sodomy for the entire week.
So the lesson is, if you want to have like a good Sick and Wrong guest this week, it's a bad week to do it. If you want your wedding planned, it's a bad week. If you want, you know, your interior designing for your house, it's a bad week to, yeah. Bris.
If you have a bris plan, well, actually, it's probably a good
Ain't no faggot gonna bris my son.
It's probably a good week for a bris.
Yeah, maybe.
No, but in actuality, what happened is we planned this with my brother. I called him and I asked him to come down today to do the podcast, and he's like, "Dude, it's Gay Pride Week. I'm going out to the disco."
There was no argument whatsoever to be made.
Dude, he told me, well, my brother works at a gay bar, so it's like all week, you know, he's working, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And he told me that they bought him as a gift for Gay Pride Week a leather thong. So he's working in a leather thong. And he's like, if you want, I could wear it to the podcast next week.
Oh, God, no.
And I'm just like, dude, you will not enter my house in a leather thong.
I don't even want him to have it on underneath his clothes.
I wouldn't be able to eat for a week after seeing that.
You might have some tossed salad, though.
My brother kind of looks like Chris Farley. So just to give you a mental image out there, okay? A bald Chris Farley. In a leather thong.
Chris Farley is bald.
Well, now he is.
But yeah, he looks like Chris Farley in his younger days, his younger svelte days.
when he had the velveteen touch of a dandy fop. Well,
exactly.
All in all, my brother couldn't make it down this week because of Gay Pride. So you can blame the postponement of podcast 25 on the gays, okay?
Right.
They have to go have...
And their fucking pride.
Yeah, you know, they have pride. They have to have their own holiday. They have to have public sodomy, you know, in the streets. So, yeah, that's why we're going to have to postpone the podcast.
And your brother has to be on call for that.
Yeah, my brother is on call for that.
You can't even make it away for a half hour.
So next week, we will be doing podcast 25, which will be an extra special podcast just for you.
So this is podcast 26.
This is podcast
some type
26.
of time shifting.
Well, you know, you can pretend that it's 2 weeks from now.
Dude, it's the internet. We can do whatever we want.
Exactly. It's freedom. That's what I'm talking about. So how are you doing there, Wackerly?
I'm good.
Doing pretty good?
No, nothing to report, really.
Nothing to report? Well, I have something to report. I was looking through the internet. It's kind of funny. Someone sent me a link to this website, and I almost crapped my pants laughing. And, you know, at first I was like, you know, I kind of feel bad for laughing about this. I shouldn't be laughing. This is not a laughing matter. But maybe it's because I'm a sick and twisted fuck that I find this funny. But I bet you will find this funny as well.
Yeah, most likely.
You probably do. So there's a website called NowILayMeDownToSleep.com. So just type that in.
Is it a porn site?
You know, I thought it was like a site about like some kind of porn or wet dreams.
Sleep fetish.
But
Never mind. That's another podcast.
It's now, yeah. You know how they have those porn sites, just naked chicks sleeping?
Right.
Yeah, so I kind of thought it was something like that, especially for the guy who sent it to me. I was like, oh, dude, I can't open this up at work. But as it turned out, I could open it up at work, but I was chuckling so much that, you know, it kind of caused a little stir.
You got to demerit.
In the office, yeah. So it's called NowILayMeDownToSleep.com. And, dude, this website is just fucked up. The concept of this website is fucked up. The fact that people go to this website to procure these services is fucked up. So what happens here is it's a website offering services of photographers who will take pictures of your miscarried baby. So if you go to the hospital and you have a miscarriage, you know, and the gestation period can be like 20 months. It doesn't have to be like a full-term miscarriage. It could be like a tiny malformed fetus.
Yeah.
They'll take pictures and they'll put it on a DVD to help you remember this. So I looked at their website, and if you go up there, there's some funny stuff on that website.
Can I just point out, though, it's kind of a misnomer. It shouldn't be called, you know, Now I Lay Me Down to Death.
I think it should just be called, like, SmileDeadBaby.com. You know, I don't know. So this amazing time of life is full of mystery. This is from their website. Anticipation, joy, hope, and wonder. Feeling the powerful energy of birth and new life. Watching as a new family is born unto each other. These things humble and amaze. These are the things that we celebrate when a baby is born. But there is another aspect of pregnancy and birth. There is an unexpected place in this journey where some families may find themselves. When a baby dies, a world is turned upside down. Dun 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 dun. So what you can do is if you turn out that you know your baby miscarries, comes out looking like a bloody clot, you can hire these photographers to come in and take pictures. The soft, gentle heirloom photographs of these beautiful babies are an important part of the healing process. They allow families to honor and cherish their babies and share the spirits of their lives. But, dude, I mean, the idea of photographing this dead baby, isn't that just wrong?
Well,
isn't that just disturbing?
Are you supposed to put it on display in your home, or what do you do with that picture?
Why would you want to constantly be reminded of your miscarried fetus?
Well, it's not something you should forget. You know, it's some tragedy, whatever, that happened in your life, makes you stronger, hopefully. But I don't know if, like, 18 by 20 sepia tone print of the remains is the best way to do that.
Or a DVD with meaningful music. Does that do it? I don't know. For parents experiencing an infant loss as early as 20 weeks gestation. So, dude, 20 weeks. That thing's got to be like the size of your thumb.
Or a dime or something.
Yeah, I don't know. We can provide you with these heirloom memories of your precious baby. At your request, we will have a professional photographer come to the hospital location for a private and sensitive photography session.
Do you think they have to, like, stop the doctor? Like, wait, don't throw that out!
Hey, what are you doing with that? No, don't put it in the garbage bag. You know,
all right.
We got to photograph it.
Can I butt in here, though? Because you did send this to me, and I looked at some of the pictures on the site, and I got to say, there's worse stuff out there on the internet.
Well, one thing I want to say before we get into this is you can go to this website and you can see pictures, testimonials of people who have actually had this done. And there's pictures on this website, and this is the most disturbing aspect. They have pictures of parents holding the dead babies, having their sons and daughters who are living holding their dead, sibling in their hands. And I mean, these pictures are just disturbing. I mean, they're disgusting images. I don't understand why some sick and twisted Christian fuck would want to do this. Jewish people don't do this.
Oh, I bet you there's a Jew out there who did it. But in general, yes, you're right, they don't. And
I think it's a Christian website.
The people who aren't part of the tragedy, the people who promote people to do this, are definitely those that are trying to, instill legal rights of life into pre-birth fetuses.
Well, I think it's a Christian. I think the people who started this website are, part of it. They're affiliated with Christianity somehow, and I think what they want to say is that these babies, were life. They were a human life, and so
Senator Rick Santorum, made famous by Dan Savage's Savage Love column. Yeah, he converted his name into what is it?
Frothy mixture of semen and lube that's expelled out of the
after
anus
anal sex.
After anal sex.
Right. But so he's a hardcore right-wing evangelical Christian, and he did this, right? His wife had a miscarriage, and they took the baby home.
They took the baby home and
right.
had the
kids
the whole
hold
family
it.
hold it.
They probably took pictures with it.
Dude,
why wouldn't you?
I'm sure they took pictures to remember it. But I mean, let's say you were growing up, you're 8 years old, your mom miscarries, and she asks you to come, she asks you to hold your dead brother in your hands. Would you have an issue with that? I mean, would you? What would be going through your mind?
No, Mommy, no. What did I do?
I would just be like,
why am I being punished?
Get that dead thing away from me, you crazy bitch. No, I don't know. But I mean,
the way that I look at it, and I guess I realize that everybody doesn't look at it, but it's kind of like if your mom had, one of her kidneys removed and she brought that home and I wanted you to hang on to that. Like, no, I don't want to hold on to something out of your...
It's like, here's my uterus.
Here's my ovaries. Hold on to them while I take a picture. No, I don't want to do that.
No, and it's just what bothers me is the fact that they force their kids to take pictures with this corpse.
Well, never forget.
I mean, they don't do this with grandma when grandma dies.
Maybe in your family they don't.
Well, they don't set her up on the chair and put you on grandpa's lap. He's
all
cold
they
and
set
rotting.
They set her up in the coffin with the open casket funeral, which I'm also not a fan of, by the way.
No, neither am I, but that's a whole other issue. But do they take pictures?
I've never seen somebody take a picture of the corpse.
Are you smiling and posing next to the open coffin with the little bunny ears over grandpa's dead?
If I had my
serene face.
If I had my choice, when I die, I want to be embalmed and then put in some type of an action position.
With your finger outstretched?
No, like Heisman Trophy position pose, something like that. Just set up in front of everybody.
I've always wanted to be a human piñata. Stuffed full of Brock's candy. How naked from the ceiling, everyone gets a bat with my name on it.
That could get a little messy.
I think it could too. But what we're talking about here is, so you can go to this website and you can see pictures of families holding these dead infants. I sent this email to Wackerly thinking it was going to, completely repulse him. And what he sent me back... It's a
pretty hard thing to do.
What he sent me back made me lose my lunch.
So I've actually looked into this before.
I bet you've masturbated to this before.
I'm going to have to give some credit to the site somethingawful.com because that's kind of where website. I got not turned on to this is the wrong word. Clued in.
Oh, okay.
So the pictures in this website are... granted, professionally done, and they don't show. Most of the pictures on the website are of pretty near full-term babies, right?
Well, on Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep, it's like they don't have a 20-week-old corpse of an infant.
But they will. They say that they will take.
They say
pictures.
that they would. I mean, they had some, but it's like these pictures are staged. They have the backdrop that's like some kind of grayish fabric or something, and the family's just kind of posing. It's like a family portrait, a familial portrait with the corpse of the baby.
Right.
But the sites that you sent me look like they were done with a Polaroid camera.
Yeah, or a 7-year ago vintage digital camera. So there's kind of an epidemic on the internet of people who put up entire website type shrines to their prematurely miscarried babies or fetuses or
feti does it help
or
the
whatever.
Healing process?
I guess it does, but I think there's a problem with when these people never take them down. Maybe you want to put a website together and it's a healing process and you leave it up for a month or two, but these websites are all over the internet, right? And I have a problem. D, you are all about just giving out these web addresses that I don't really feel comfortable with. Well, you're a little sicker than me.
I wanted to share these images with the listening audience. I almost think we should put them on the website, but I
put the kibosh on that.
You demurred on this.
I can completely appreciate the sickness and wrongness, but at the same time, I'm not going to give you the web addresses, but I will tell you how to get to the web addresses.
Okay, well, we'll just give the route to these web addresses.
Go to Google, type in miscarriage remembrance website or miscarriage memorial website,
or miscarriage porn.
No, that's something else altogether. But like
Hot.
thousands and thousands of these websites are going to come up, and when you go to
It's
these,
shocking. It
and when
really
you go
is.
to these websites, they link to all the other ones, right? Because they're all in this like support group. And these people put the pictures of these 20-week-old, little clumps of, maybe kind of looks like
They're
a
not
person.
even fully formed like human fetuses.
No, some of them don't have skin yet.
I know. It's like you can see there's like the beginnings of their skull. They're sunken in eye sockets.
Right, they have really
They're translucent skin.
translucent skin, very weird red lips.
They don't even have lips. Some
Kind
of
of,
these.
yeah. Some of them don't have lips. They kind of, malformed or half-formed limbs.
And the parents are holding these creatures,
Right.
And they're posing with it, and they're making their 4-year-old children, living children, hold their deceased brother.
Yeah. And I understand that
Or
it's a
creature.
I understand that it's a tragic thing in somebody's life. I'm not trying to belittle that, but I just don't think putting it on the internet is the best way to deal with that for other people to come and look at. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, other people to exploit, such as us. I mean, that's
Right.
it's
Because
inevitable.
that's
something
inevitable
That's
what's
going
gonna
to
happen, right.
No, I don't want to downplay the significance. I mean, if this is part of your healing process, well, yeah, I guess you could hire Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep and make a fucking DVD or a portrait book or something.
Or like these websites, you just do it yourself.
Well, the funniest thing about these websites, so go check it out, and you can see these horrific images of these, malformed, not even fully formed fetuses that the people are posing with. But the funniest aspect of these sites is the music, the MIDI music that they have playing on all of these sites.
I don't think I found a single one of these sites that did not have some autoplay MIDI music that immediately starts playing when you bring it up. So if you're at work, you might want to turn your volume down, unless that's the type of thing you listen to in your office all the time.
Well, that's what I mean. It was the pictures. The pictures made me lose my lunch, but it was the music that made me cry from laughter.
Obviously, you didn't read any of the poems that the parents wrote.
Do you have any of those websites up? I kind of want to share a couple of these poems that these parents wrote, and you can just imagine. I mean, people just think about the Christians that are making these websites. We're not talking about T.S. Eliot here.
Right. They all seem to call their
This
kids
isn't Lord Byron's poetry.
Right. They all seem to call their kids their angels. It's always about an angel. This is my angel's website, blah, blah, blah. In loving memory, blah, blah, blah.
There's no one that has this my mucus coated blood clot.
No, they sort of gloss over that.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, it's something out of Hellraiser or something, or Basket Case, dude. I mean, it's so disgusting.
It's disturbing looking, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's vile. It really is.
I can't find a poem, but they're here. I just haven't. I'm not prepared.
Well,
as usual.
So yeah, well, you can go to these websites and you can hear the MIDI music, and some of the songs are actual songs. I swear one of those websites had More Than Words playing, but a MIDI version of More Than Words, which just is one of the worst songs I think ever recorded in the human race. But
here's a poem. I actually found one. So, I'm reluctant to use the name, so I'll make one up. Jeffrey, sweet Jeffrey, there is so much I want to say. Your daddy and I miss you more each day. We were happy to find out we were having you, waiting for the day we could hold you and touch you, wanting to touch your sweet face and give you a warm embrace. There's a lot of face embrace.
Does it even have a face?
I don't know.
I don't even think it has a face. Well, what we're going to do for you people, I don't know if you're going to have the wherewithal to actually find these websites for yourself, but at the end of this podcast, I'm going to put together a medley of dead baby music.
The MIDI music.
Yeah, it's going to be a MIDI music medley of I'm going to call it dead baby music.
All right.
I think it will work.
That'll be good for the listeners, too.
Well, one more thing on this topic. There's one other website that's related that I found today as well.
You had to one-up me one further.
I had to one-up you one further. This website, to me, I think is the most twisted thing I've heard in a long time. So the website's called huggableurns.com. And what happened here, let me give a little background. So a mom finds a way to hold on to her lost baby.
Oh, God.
Wherever she goes, to a restaurant, to visit family and friends, or to a court where her husband faces a murder trial this coming August, Lori Lemons takes her dead daughter with her. Nikita Faith Lemons was 2.5 months old when her father, Milton, allegedly shook her violently while watching her in the couple's apartment. Apparently that happens a lot. That happens frequently in Detroit, Michigan. That's where this article's from, the Detroit Free Press. Nikita died the next day, and Lori knew right away that she didn't want to visit a grave. She wanted her daughter cremated so she could keep her ashes at home. But while surfing the web for a suitable urn, Lemons came across HuggableUrns.com, a site from a California company that sells urns shaped like teddy bears.
Only in California.
Lemons claimed, she's like, I thought it was perfect. Now I have something to hold on to. She can join me in parties. I can dress her up for holidays. It's as soft as a baby. Well, almost. She chose a 14-inch tall plush white teddy bear from Huggable Urns. With a zipper in the back and a sturdy plastic-lined velvet pouch inside, it is designed to hold the ashes of a loved one or a cherished pet.
If you see somebody carrying one of these around, that person's officially lost it, and you should just stay away.
Dude, this woman's mental. I mean, she is completely psychotic.
But there's an entire company set up to cater to these mental patients.
My son has taken naps with her. I dress her up for the holidays like she's still part of the family. She's just in bear form.
One day she's going to come home from work, and the dog's going to have chewed up the Huggable Urn, and the ashes are going to be scattered all around.
All over its mouth.
It's not going to be a good day for this woman.
Huggable Urns is just one of the many new ideas being marketed as ways to preserve, display, or even make use of cremated loved ones' ashes. Ashes are being incorporated into jewelry, duck decoys, shotgun shells, fireworks.
Duck decoys?
Yeah, shotgun shells. And even Michael Jordan basketballs. I don't even understand this. So what you do is you cremate your infant, your deceased loved one, and you put them into like one of these inanimate objects. And I was
Michael Jordan's balls.
What I was trying to think is like, what would you do? Like if you could custom. I mean, apparently you can custom order something, a container.
I don't know, fifth of Jack.
Fifth of Jack Daniels. Yeah, I don't even know. I was thinking about it.
How about you?
I would probably put it in a condom. Just as a little reminder of why this mistake even happened in the first place.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
It's
But
very sweet of you.
I was thinking about this. So people right here are preserving the memory of their lost one with a huggable urn. This is one step down from having the fucking dead corpse stuffed and preserved on the mantle. People do that with their dogs.
Like taxidermy is what you're talking about.
Why didn't she just have the corpse stuffed?
Maybe that's a business opportunity for you.
I'm thinking about it. That's a great business venture. God, don't give it away to the listening audience. Or either that, or why don't they bronze the fetus? I mean, people
That's
do
a
it
good
with the
idea
baby
too.
shoes.
Right.
You could just bronze that little fetus.
But you know what the funny thing is? So taxidermy, if like you kill a deer and you have a lot of money, you might have the whole deer stuffed and have like a big deer climbing a fake rock or something in your den. But sometimes if you don't have as much money, you just have the head stuffed. So would you offer that as a low-cost option to distraught parents?
I could see that it being at a discounted rate.
Just the baby's head on a little plaque that you could hang over the fire.
I wonder if you could find a taxidermist who would be willing to stuff a dead baby.
You might have to go to taxidermy school yourself.
You probably have to go to Japan or something, or China.
Yeah, in Japan they probably do that all
or
the time.
in China or something. But no, seriously, this is one step down from that. I mean, you're carrying an effigy or a model, something that's preserving your kid.
Yeah,
that's supposed to a symbol that's supposed to represent your kid. It just bothers me that this grown woman is carrying a fucking teddy bear around with her daughter's ashes in it.
It's really a symbol of just worship of material things.
Well, the article even gets stranger. It says here that this woman, this HuggableUrns.com is the brainchild of Alexandra Lacchini of Redding, California, 53-year-old woman. But she credits her father, John Romero, who died in 98, with coming up with the idea. And get this, he came up with the idea post-mortem. So he was already dead.
How did he do that?
Well, this is what Lacchini says. My dad was not a spiritual guy. When he passed, he started talking to me. He kept telling me, get me out of the closet. I don't want to be in this urn. Get me out of the closet. That's what he said. I'm serious. She went to her mother's house near Lake Tahoe and said, Mom, where's Dad? And she kind of made this funny look and was like, well, he's in the closet. And then she told her mom, well, he doesn't want to be there. She then took her father's ashes home. I don't know what her mom must have been thinking at this point. And he started talking to me about the energy of the ashes and how important it was to keep them and hold them. She said her father told her that he wanted to go places with her, so she put his ashes in a nylon purse and carried them around with her. Later, he suggested, "Why don't you put me in a teddy bear?" Dude, this woman is mental.
Well, okay, this brings up a different thing. For a full-grown person, man who is dead and is still talking to his wife, wants to be with his wife, don't you think he'd want to be in, like, a dildo? Why don't you put me in a dildo?
Yeah, I don't know why
Vibrator?
you didn't tell her that. Yeah. I mean, actually, that's a good idea.
Not for the baby, but for, your dead, departed husband. That'd make you in your times of intimate need, you could still be together.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But then again, if you had him stuffed, you could have, his member stiffened.
Once again, an action pose.
An action pose. God, we're just full of good ideas today. She said her dad guided her to this company, Plush Creations in San Mateo. And with her design ideas, the company helped create the bears, which come in standard size and can be personalized in various ways, including angel wings, rose petals, and a halo.
Maybe the bear could have a big strap on.
Or like a leather thong. That'd be like a bear my brother would probably like.
Yeah, right.
And my brother digs bears. The bear holding Nikita Lemon's ashes also is outfitted in a pink dress that her mother bought for her for Easter.
God.
She takes her to restaurants, out to dinner, over to family members' houses. Actually, the majority of people I come across say, "Oh, that is so cool. That is just perfect. I would have never thought of that."
And then promptly never talk to her again.
And step back, watching her really slowly.
Yeah. I'm going to go over here now.
She's fucking crazy. Well, anyways, I want to wrap this article up here, but one more funny point about it. So Milton Lemons, who murdered the infant at 2.5 years of age, told police that he was angry and depressed when he shook his daughter to get her to stop crying. Get this. Detectives said he demonstrated using a stuffed bear. So Lori Lemons, the mother who carries the bear around, said, Milton's seen the bear, though she doesn't think he realizes his daughter's ashes are inside it.
Wait, the husband's still around?
Yeah, I guess he's seen the bear. I honestly don't think he understands.
I mean, the bear... the only justifiable end of the story...
You're not going to be able to explain this.
No, the only justifiable end of the story is that the bear comes to life, like in the Chucky movies, Child's Play, whatever you want to call it, and just slaughters this guy.
And just
that
starts
would be
murdering
cool.
them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely one of the most sick and wrong things I've come across in a long time. So people go check it out. Now I lay me down to sleep.com and huggableurns.com. And then go type in Google dead baby remembrance. Miscarriage memorial. They both generally lead to the same thing. But at the end of the podcast, we're going to have a medley of dead baby music for your listening pleasure.
It's going to be great.
Right now, we need to move along with the show. So, as you know, Sick and Wrong is a competition between me and Lance. We scour the various newspapers and internet sites for the most disturbing articles of the week. We present them here on the show. You vote for them at sickandwrongpodcast@hotmail.com, and the winner gets a case of beer. I believe Lance Wackerly won last week for podcast 24 with the article about the bumbling serial murderers. They weren't even serial murderers. The bumbling murderers.
Just murderers, yeah.
Bumbling murderers. I think you unanimously, well, you had something like 25 votes for that. And I think I had 1 for the toilet murderer. So I think you're going to have to kick it off here for podcast 26.
Okay, here we go. All right, we spent a lot of time talking about those dead babies, so we got to blow through this stuff pretty quickly.
I love talking about dead babies,
I know.
dude.
It was a good intro.
We
could have done the whole thing, so I'm going to go pretty quickly here. So this story's not great, but it does have an aspect that I think bears pointing out. We've been talking about white trash with a lot of our listeners for different countries, getting to know, well, what is white trash like in Norway? What's white trash like in Hungary? What is white trash like in
It's been a recurring segment
North
here
Africa.
on the show.
Yeah. But I think we've kind of been getting a little bit off track with that because people have been emailing us, what they think are white trash in their country, like Neds or Chavs or or whatnot. But they seem to be just describing people who are poor, white,
Well, white trash are poor.
and obnoxious. But that's not the only thing that white trash is.
No, there's various qualities that define white trash.
American white trash, it has special aspects. That they're definitely white, poor, and obnoxious, but they also have to sort of live in a rural area, you know, out in the sticks.
Like Kentucky.
Probably in a trailer. They're generally like very patriotic, even though the government screws them any chance it can get.
They tend to have mullets and drink shitty beer.
Yes.
Beat their wives.
Yeah.
Children.
Right.
And do meth.
Right. But I don't think
Amphetamines.
all these our listeners are exactly talking about that type of person.
Well, maybe it's white trash in their country.
Right. Well, I gotta this story kind of is a good case study of some American homegrown real white trash that points
Good
out a
old
lot of
Yankee
good stuff.
white trash. Are they Yankees?
No, these are Southerners. These are
Okay, so these are bona
Dixie.
fide American white trash here.
South
Oh, yeah.
Arkansas.
Like George Bush.
So
Or
the
no,
mayor,
Bill Clinton.
the mayor of McNeil, Arkansas, who was 83 years old, he's been the mayor for 38 years. Hey,
How the hell does that happen?
why fit? Because they all like him. He's a good old boy.
I thought they only had an 8-year term, though.
And he's a mayor. They can do whatever they want.
Okay.
I mean, it's all up to the township, right?
I guess they decide, according to what their municipal laws are, I guess.
So Ralph Ward was 83, been the mayor for 38 years. Everybody likes him. He's a good old boy. Drives
good
a
old
truck,
boy.
got a flag in the back, shotgun hanging from the window.
He's a good old patriotic American, good old boy.
Well, he was found stabbed in his chair to death
Oh, shit.
one night. Probably a trailer, although they don't specify, but I kind of assume.
In Arkansas, I would assume that
I
he's
should
living in a
point
trailer.
out that this town that he's the mayor of has 650 residents. So if you're like at even sort of a small rock concert, there's probably more people there than live in this town.
I think more people died in the Great White Inferno.
I'm pretty sure they did, yeah. So, well, guess who the suspects are?
White trash?
Well, yeah, because they're his relatives.
Okay.
His granddaughter, and let me find it now. I'm kind of missing all my notes. His granddaughter, Nina McNeil, because he's Ralph McNeil, right? Wow, these are really screwed up. Hang on.
So Nina murdered her grandfather.
Right. Nina Bolton, who's 50, and her boyfriend, Shanti Smith, 27.
Wait, not Michael Bolton's daughter.
No, he's
Okay.
he's Mayor Ralph. God damn it, dude.
Bolton?
Ralph Ward's, who's 83. His granddaughter's 50.
That's another hallmark of white trash.
Her
though.
boyfriend's
different
27.
surnames.
Yeah. Well, his boyfriend's it's like his daughter married a guy, and that's her dad's.
okay.
name. So, but her boyfriend's 27. So yeah, they think it's her. But Bolton, the granddaughter, just got out of prison 6 months ago. She was serving, and she'd served 6 years of a 20-year sentence for killing her husband.
For killing her husband.
Right. Her husband was
How the fuck do you get out in 6 years after killing your husband? It was probably some, I'm sure there were some extenuating circumstances.
Well, maybe it's because her grandfather was the mayor.
Yeah, got her out. That was the worst thing he's ever done.
So her husband that she killed, he was the deputy sheriff and the waterworks manager.
She's going through the whole governing body of this town.
Well, she, is either related or has killed them.
Okay. I think everyone's related in this town.
So she kind of explained that probably why she got out is because she explained why she killed her husband is that he was abusive, which is another very
abusive.
white trashy thing to do. Have an abusive husband, abuse your wife, abuse your kids. That's, par for the course. One of her relatives says about this new murder of the granddad, who's the mayor. I can't believe that Nina would be involved in the killing of her own grandfather. I know people change over the years, but it's not like she was estranged from him or didn't get along with him. I know people change over the years, but wait, she just murdered her husband 6 years ago. She's not changing at all.
How would she even change? Like, what is this guy thinking? It's the inbreeding. It affects the reason.
Right. So, Another thing that I thought was funny about this, they stabbed him to death. Not particularly sick, but like I said, I'm just trying to illustrate the real qualities of white trash in America. So Nina, what did I say her last name?
So she's accused of stabbing. Allegedly, she stabbed him to death.
There's only 650 people in the town, dude. They know it was her.
Okay.
Who else was it?
And she murdered her husband and did time in prison. So yeah.
And her boyfriend that's
All
half
fingers
her.
are pointing
Her
to
boyfriend that's half her age helped her with it. Shanti Smith.
Shanti.
And they are being represented by public defendants. Her grandfather's the mayor, but you can't afford a lawyer.
She can't even afford a lawyer. Dude,
Right.
They all live in the trailer park. I bet you this town is just one big trailer park with 650 people in it.
You're probably right.
In 4 trailers.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's it. That's the story.
So the woman's accused of murdering her grandfather, who's the mayor, and had help with her boyfriend, Shanti.
Right, and she just got out of prison serving less than half of her sentence for murdering her husband.
Murdering her dead husband.
Who was abusive, don't get me wrong.
On the sick and wrong scale, I guess it is a murder. I mean, he was stabbed to death, probably in his trailer. I'm gonna. It's not necessarily sick. It's definitely wrong. I mean, it's sick. It's a murder. I think I'm gonna have to go with a 6 for this.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna give it a 4. That was
So 1 being the
half-assed.
worst, 10. Well, 1 being not so sick, 10 being the worst. I think I'm gonna probably have to give this a 6.
I'm gonna have to give it probably the first below 5 score. I'm gonna give it a 4 because that was just my half-assed attempt.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's very enlightening. You kind of enlighten the listening audience as to American white trash.
You never know. Maybe they'll like it.
Well, that's what I think a lot of people appreciate Sick and Wrong, the podcast, because it's a learning experience for many people. Well, let's move on to my article. I think I'm not going to have a problem slaying that one. But, I leave it up to you, the listening audience, to decide. So here's my article for podcast 26. It's a shorty, but a goodie. Definitely very graphic, and no shortage of gory details here. But the article isn't very long. So, headline here is, police find 2 bodies and 3 heads at a car crash scene.
How does that happen?
How does that compute?
2-headed person?
You don't know. Yeah, you almost think that someone ran over a Siamese twin. Mm-hmm. But no, to my chagrin, that didn't happen.
Damn.
Cops learn of earlier death after severed head hits the road during the accident. So this happened in Boise, Idaho. A man transporting his wife's severed head in a pickup truck, don't quite understand why he was doing that, crashed into an oncoming car, killing a woman and her 4-year-old daughter. The impact sent the head flying onto the road. So initially I thought that this guy was driving with his wife's severed head in the passenger seat, obviously not buckled in. And when they got in the accident, the head flew out the window into the oncoming car, causing the other accident. But that's not what happened at all.
The airbag didn't stop it.
The airbag did not stop it. What happened is he slammed his truck into this woman's car, killing her and her daughter, and then the head, because it was not strapped in, flew out of his truck and landed in the road. And police made this gruesome discovery. But I was thinking about that. If you're going to drive around with a severed head, you got to know that there's going to be some movement.
Right.
Why wouldn't he secure it?
You might want to put it in the trunk.
I would put it in a trunk or maybe in a bag or something, or like a child seat. Like one of those little child seats you could strap it in.
Right.
I could see that. I don't know why.
Because you never know. You
didn't.
might get in a wreck, head-on collision.
So a Boise police officer was driving behind. The guy's name is Alofa Time.
You're shitting me.
I kind of glossed over that. I'm sorry. The person who was driving the truck with his wife's severed head is named Alofa Time. Alofa Time.
A loaf of time.
Alofa Time. Yeah. I made a loaf of something else just before the show. But Alofa Time was driving his truck on a busy road when he noticed the man's erratic driving. So the Boise police officer, is driving behind Alofa Time, who was driving in a truck with his wife's severed head. Let me get my facts straight here. The cop noticed that Alofa was driving erratically and then watched him slam into the car that was ahead of him. Time 51 was not injured, but he told his police officers after they found the head that he was involved in his wife's death. What I don't understand is what was going through this guy's mind. Obviously, there's some kind of psychosis here. But, I mean, he's driving around in his pickup truck with his wife's severed head in the passenger seat.
Right. I wonder if he was talking to it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, what was he saying? Was he playing that Guns N' Roses song, Used to Love Her, but I Had to Kill Her?
Maybe.
You know, I don't know. I mean, do you think they were having like a little conversation?
Bitch, quit nagging me.
I wonder if that's why he slammed the car, because she was still bitching at him driving. He could probably, I mean, she was probably such a nag that he probably still heard her in his head. You know what he should have done? Is he should have just cremated that corpse and stuffed her in a teddy bear. Yeah. Or maybe put her in a beer and drank it. I don't know. Or in a fifth of Jack.
How confused do you think the cops were at the crime scene or the accident scene?
Apparently, they're completely confounded, because what they found is that the mother and her 4-year-old daughter died, but there's an 8-year-old that actually lived, made it through the accident. Then they find the other guy, Alofa Time, who was driving the pickup truck. Dude, it's kind of hard to say that name without laughing. So they find Alofa Time, who was driving, who was completely not even injured, which always tends to happen. So once they found the head, they searched Time's house in Nampa, Iowa, and they found the decapitated body of his wife, 47-year-old Teresa Time, in a car inside the garage. She most likely had been dead for several hours. That's what Nampa police said. So what I don't understand, here's another question, is so he cut her head off, took the head, put it in his car, and then left her body in another car?
Apparently.
I mean, do you think he cut the head off in the car? I don't know.
I'm unclear on the concept.
So an autopsy is scheduled next week to determine Teresa Time's cause of death. Alofa Time, was being held on 2 counts of second-degree murder in the deaths of Samantha Murphy and her daughter, the 4-year-old daughter. Murphy's other daughter was injured, but she was in stable condition. Hightower, who was one of the police officers who was on the scene, said
he was in Police Academy, the movies. Joe Green.
Actually, I think Hightower in this article is a woman, but I'd like to mentally picture
my image.
Mean Joe Green. So Hightower said it was one of the more horrific and complex crime scenes on memory. A woman and her child killed in a crash, and a severed head from an earlier homicide. It's nothing short of bizarre and tragic. So, I do think that there should be a follow-up article with this one sometime in the near future.
Yeah, we need to find out about the actual murder.
There's just so many questions left unanswered. But 2 things going for this for this article are definitely the names. Alofa Time and Officer Hightower. I mean, how random is that?
Yeah. Well, this one definitely gets a sick and bizarre score.
Well, that's on the sick and wrong scale. I'm going to have to give this... I mean, the guy was driving around with his wife's severed head in the pickup truck, then smashed into some like innocent woman who was driving with her children. She died. She was killed, and her daughter was killed. So 3 people died.
Obviously, he was distracted by his wife's severed head.
I bet you she was bitching from beyond the grave.
Right.
I'm going to have to give this probably a 9.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9.1.
Give it a 9?
Yeah.
Well, we invite the listening audience to vote as to how sick and wrong this article really is. Sick and Wrong Podcast at hotmail.com. And you can decide who gets the case of beer this week for podcast 26.
Yeah.
Well, we must conclude the show here. Stay tuned next week for podcast 25, where we will do the special podcast. I promise you this time. I'm not going to drop the ball. I will get my gay brother on the show to share his own personal sick and wrong story.
Dude,
for your listening pleasure.
We will Shanghai him if need be.
I think you can take part in that. I think you can do that. But you know what? As an apology here for doing that, I created my own Sling Blade tribute. It's an audio. I don't even know what I would really call it. What would you call it? An audio presentation?
I'd call it a perfect envisioning of an aspect of Carl's life that not a lot of people get exposure to.
We fetishize the movie Sling Blade here on Sick and Wrong Podcast. So what I call this little audio presentation is called Carl Gets Laid, Sling Laid. And so I'm going to post that on the website so you can check it out because I feel bad. But yeah, right now just enjoy the Dead Baby music medley.
Yeah, D, hit me with some of that.
I will. And until next week, take it sleazy.
Everything was a blur, and everyone came by and said how sorry they were. I knew that they meant well, so I tried to force a smile when they said I should be thankful and that I